not just in terms of the number of months, but the time. How many hours a day? You've got 24, right? Now minus 8 because you should have proper rest because you weren't going to be able to develop the muscle without the proper rest. So now we're down to 16 hours. So now, do you work? How many hours? Minus that. Do you have to eat? Yeah, now minus that. Do you have to do, now how many hours are left? And then you ask yourself, of those, I don't know, 6, 7 hours that are left, how many do you want to put an hour or two into that? Because if you put it into that, you're not going to put it into something else. So before we go pursuing it, we should probably find out, why am I willing to put 20% of my waking hours, or my available waking hours, into that? And yeah, do you look good with it? Yes. Yes, of course. And it's good to take pictures because you're going to have to remember it because it's not going to be there forever because you're not going to maintain that workload forever. Some people will, of course. And those are usually people who have YouTube channels and things like that. But then at some point, don't you have to ask yourself the question, like, why am I doing this? And it's that shallowness that just says, just to look good. Yeah, but why does that matter? Because it makes me feel a certain way about myself. Okay. And how does not having it make you feel? Remember the story about is it dark outside? Yeah, I mentioned it before. I have a friend one time who was telling me that he hates philosophy and he hates philosophers, particularly because he said, we make everything so damn complicated. Because we're always asking why. Can you define this? Can you explain this? I asked him for an example. And he said, it was at nighttime. He goes, for example, is it dark outside? And I asked him, well, what's the it to which you're referring? And he goes, exactly. It's obvious what I mean by is it dark outside. I go, well, do you mean the building? Do you mean the sky? Do you mean the evening time? Exactly what do you mean by dark? And he goes, oh, that's exactly, it's too complicated. It's like, no, it's not too complicated. It is difficult, of course. If philosophy was easy, it'd be called rocket science. The thing is you want to understand what it is that you're talking about because we may come to, I was talking to a class yesterday, for example, everybody in here, we all agree that we need educational reform, right? We need to reform the educational system. And all of us will nod along with that. Yes. Okay, we're all on the same page then. Okay, good. What have I not done? I haven't told you what I mean by reform. What I mean by reform might be we need to execute everybody who's wearing blue jeans today. I had to make sure I wasn't wearing blue jeans today. And that way we can eliminate half of the school and therefore we can have more funding and time for those of us who are wearing black jeans and non-blue jeans. Now, what you might mean by educational reform is to offer more classes, offer a greater variety of classes. But because I've been so vague, I can get you on board with me. Philosophy tries to get rid of that vagueness. So when you ask that question, is it dark outside? I'll ask you oftentimes, what is the it to which we're referring? What's the it that we're really getting at? Yeah, you want a six-pack. Why? Because it looks good. Okay, it looks good. And that's that level here. Yeah, but why is it looking good so important to you? And you dig, and you dig, and you dig, and finally you say, because when I feel terrible about the way I look. I lack self-esteem. And if I can get that, then that will make me feel better about myself. Because that's the validation I can get, because that will be a means for having other people look at me and say, wow, you look good. Something I'm not going to get otherwise. Because maybe I'm a butterface. So I'm going to have to focus on that six-pack. And then when I get that, well, then I get the girls. And then that's more validation. So that means I am desirable, I am important. So what you're really after is to be desirable. Why? Because you don't feel like it. Or maybe because you actually aren't. And so that's what you're really, really going for down there. Yeah. I reference the movie a lot for how many times I've seen it, but like Scarface. Everybody remembers Scarface?
Yep.
Yeah. First you get the money.
You get the power.
Then you get the power. Then you get the girls. Then you get the women. First you get the six-pack. Well, no. First you get the hard work. First you get the motivation. First you get the dedication. First you get the commitment. And then a surprising thing happens. Can you get the six-pack after that? Yeah, if you have the motivation, the dedication, the commitment, guess what else you can get? Anything else you want. Because that's the key to getting anything you want. You're choosing this six-pack because you choose a college degree instead? Could you choose a business opportunity instead? Could you dedicate that time to learning how to invest your resources to grow them? In other words, if you have that set of skills, well, then you can pretty much do anything you want, literally almost anything that you want to do. The problem is not that there aren't things to do. Is having a six-pack, is it cool? Yeah, it looks cool. Yeah, I had one in college. It was dope. Look at it, make all those jokes about how you're doing your laundry on your stomach and stuff like that. And then, afterwards you realize how much time you're putting into that. And then you start thinking that there are so many other things in life. And it isn't like a shunning of that. Would it be dope to be able to have that and not have to work for it? Yeah, because it looks cool. And people gawk over it. So yeah, it looks cool. It feels good. But we put our lives, by which I mean we put our time, and a lot of time, into perishable things. The things that are going to go away, rather than focusing our time and energies on the things that are going to pay dividends over the long run. And so it's always worthwhile asking ourselves, this thing that I want, why do I want it? And digging to find out what the real it is. Here's the hard thing. When you're sitting there and you're at the gym and you're just like, I want a six-pack because I think I'm a piece of crap. I think I lack self-esteem. My ego is incredibly fragile, and I really need the praise of other people to fulfill me. I can't fulfill it in myself. Now, is that the only reason a person wants a six-pack? Is that always the it? No. Here's another one. I want those muscles. Why? Because it's a reflection of my hard work. The same reason some people want money. Some people want money just because they can buy stuff. Some people want money because the money is a reflection of all the hard work you've put in. Why do you want to drive that fancy car? So people will look at me and think I'm something special. Or I want that fancy car because I work hard, and I want there to be some kind of a symbol, a representation, to be able to put out in the world and say, this is how hard I've worked. Which of those is it, though? That's for each person to figure out. But the hard thing is that it's really easy for us to just go with the positive one, the one that speaks well of us. Oh, I just want a reflection of my hard work. That might be what it is. It also might be the first one, which is that we're trying to compensate for something that we're lacking otherwise. And if we're trying to, I was thinking last period, what example did I use? I used an example. What was it? I don't remember. I'll have to think of it. But before I go on, others. So those goals that we're pursuing, they're always veiled. We don't always know why it is that we want them. Like a girl who longs for marriage. Why? Why would you long for marriage?
She's lonely.
What's that?
She's lonely.
Maybe because she's lonely. Why else?
She wants love.
She wants love. And what kind of love?
The one that lasts a long time.
Yeah. How long?
Eternity.
Eternity.
Life.
Eternity. Yeah, forever and ever and ever. Yeah. What kind of a love? It's playing on my speaker right now. A love supreme. Or because she's not fulfilled in and of herself. She feels her about herself and she needs the validation of another person. Which is it? Which is it? It could be a combination of the two. But to figure out why it is. Here's another reason maybe to get married. Because when you get married, you have a permanent situation, you have security, it's less time to have to worry about that kind of a thing, and now you've got someone that you can build things with. If you're getting divorced every 7 to 10 years, that means you're restarting your life every 7 to 10 years. And that means a person who never restarts their life for 30 years has a 20-year head start on you if you're having to reset your life every 10 years. And I'm sure you've heard that before also, like, half of all marriages end in divorce. And we say that, we go, therefore, let me frown first. I will never marry. Is it true that half of all marriages end in divorce? Yeah.
Yes.
But let me explain. My sister, she got married and she got divorced. She married a Marine when she was 18. Do not marry a Marine when you are 18. Guys going after the Marines, I understand you're leaving home. It's scary. Don't try to tether something to yourself by saying, you want to get married? Right? Go explore the world. She got married when she was 18. Largely probably because she wanted to get to leave home or something. Now, she got divorced. Surprise, surprise. She got married again. Guess what happened? She got divorced. She got married a third time to the same guy as the previous time. She married the same person twice. And she divorced, the second one, who was in the Navy.
That's insane.
Yeah, he had a really nice Corvette. I learned to drive stick on his Corvette. He didn't know because they were divorcing and the Corvette was in her garage. And, my sister is very spiteful. And so my friend and I took the Corvette out when I was like 14 and we learned how to drive stick on a really, really fast Corvette. And then she got divorced again. So that means that she was married and divorced 3 times. 3 people in here have to get married and stay together for the rest of your lives just to keep the divorce rate at 50%. You follow? People who get divorced tend to get divorced multiple times. Not everything, nothing is everything, but they tend to get divorced multiple times. But it isn't that half of all people end up divorced. It's half of all marriages end in divorce. So hopefully you see the difference that's there. And so if you're someone who can be with one person and develop and build things up over your whole lives, that's pretty good. So maybe that's why a person wants to get married. It's going to be different for, people are going to have their own reasons, but it's finding out that it at the bottom of it. What's the real thing that you want? And is this thing really going to satisfy it? Somebody who wants to be famous, why do you want to be famous? Oh, just because I think it'd be cool. It's a very 4th grade way of thinking about it. Why? Because that way, what's that?
Diddy parties?
I'm not asking you to describe your childhood. I'm talking to the class right now. Why would someone want to be famous? Well, because, what's that?
The money.
Great, that's a word. Money, great. What does the money do?
Financial freedom.
Financial freedom, okay. Freedom, and what would you do with that financial freedom? Yeah, power, yeah. And there is a certain power. What kind of power is it?
Authority? I don't know.
I know. You're demonstrating that every time you open your mouth. Power to do all kinds of things. But this is the point. When I ask that question, if that's what we're after, shouldn't we all have 10 answers? If it's so obvious what that would buy us? The thing is, we don't really know. We just have those superficial answers for it. Now, when you're famous, you do have a certain power. What you say matters. If you walk into a restaurant and you're like, I don't like this table. Oh my, sorry, sir, let's get you a new table. They'll go over and they'll grab a commoner and throw them out of the table just to make sure that you're happy because you're famous. And you might be like, yeah, I want to. So what are you really after? You want to matter.
Respect.
You want respect because you feel like you don't have respect otherwise. You want to matter in your life, and you want people to know who you are. You don't want to be unknown. And you probably want adoration and love. So now the question is, can fame give you those things? It can give you some of them. Can fame give you love?
No.
Fame actually will be counter to you ever finding love. We'll take an extreme example. That's common, yeah, and that's everywhere. But love is. I mean, I guess love is like stars, right? It's hard to reach. You can see it everywhere. It's absolutely gorgeous, but so damn hard to reach. But if you're looking at for example, Michael Jackson. This guy was famous from the time he was 5 years old. World famous. Michael Jackson meets somebody. Is anybody in the world not going to know who he is? So is anybody in the world ever going to love Michael Jackson? Can he ever know if they love Mike or if they love Michael Jackson? Do they love the pop star or do they love the human being? He can never know. He can never know. Very, maybe you guys saw Guardians of the Galaxy, the second one. Remember Groot? I'm talking Groot, sorry. Dax the Destroyer. Remember Drax. Remember he makes that comment, he says, ugly people. He was talking about ugly people and pretty people. And he's talking to the girl and he says that she's lucky because she's ugly. She's like, why? He's oh, you're hideous. He's all, but you're lucky because now you know if someone loves you or not. Like attractive people, you don't know if they love you just because you're attractive, or if they love you because of who you are. Yeah? And you can know, of course, and you can find love, but that kind of always might play in someone's mind, you know. And I mean, I would know. You can imagine if any of you were attractive, you would know this. If you're ugly and someone, oh, by the way, if you're ugly and someone's giving you a lot of attention, you're probably suspicious of it. Why? Why are you talking to me like this? And that might be because you are attractive, you just don't accept it. You're just not your own type. So you wouldn't notice it. You wouldn't realize it. And so, you know, fame will actually get in the way of the thing that you say that you want. Love, respect. Because people only respect you as long as you're famous. As soon as you're not famous anymore, in fact, as soon as you dip a little bit, you start getting all kinds of disrespect. Because now you're worse than a nobody. You're a has-been. You're a used to be somebody. They're gonna pull up pictures of you when you were like, you know, when you were at the peak of your game, and they're gonna compare them to pictures of yourself when you're walking to Walmart. You know, wow, look how terrible he looks. Look how ugly she is without her makeup. Look how terrible he looks in his shorts and chanclas. Oh my God, they'll have web pages dedicated to making you look terrible. So it's even worse. And so, but if we're digging down and go, then what am I really looking for? Acceptance, love, respect. So can those things be had without fame? Yeah, of course. And so maybe focus our energies on finding those things rather than finding the superficial thing. Now, is fame cool? Yeah. Any of you guys ever have like a little taste of fame at all? Yeah, I did. Like about that much. I was in a couple of bands in Los Angeles, and we were huge in the high desert. I'll tell you that right now. And I remember I was at a restaurant one time, and my band had played a show the night before, and I'm sitting there with my girlfriend at the time and one of her friends, future girlfriend, long story, and they're both like looking at, and there's someone behind me, and my girlfriend's like motioning, and I go, what? I turn around, and this kid comes up, and he's like, you're that guy from that band, aren't you? He was at the show the night before. Oh yeah. Signed a thing for him. I go back, and my head just goes, and then bigger and bigger. My head wasn't going to fit through the door. I was going to have to walk out the restaurant sideways. You get a little bit of something like that. I went on tour, and you get a little bit of that, because then of course you're on tour with that band. Now people in the town know who you are just because they were at the show the night before, and you tend to go to the same places. And something occurred to me really, really fast. I would be a horrible human being if I was famous. I would be a terrible person, man.
Why is that?
I'll ask you guys. Any of you guys think I would be any better of a human being if I could get away with anything? Yeah, look what I already get away with. Look how bad I am right now. So as I say that, I'm just like going through the Rolodex in my head of all the shit I've done in the last 72 hours. I'm sure I said some shit at the faculty meeting yesterday when we were sitting there. Yeah, that's right. I don't know. I heard nothing. Perfect. That's exactly the kind of friend you want in your life. I want myself nothing. A politician? No, that's right. Scallon did nothing wrong. No, I would be a terrible politician. I told you. If you ever see me on the ballot, don't vote for me. Which is funny, because then several years ago, several of my former students voted for me for treasurer for National City. They wrote me in as a candidate, which technically, and there was nobody running against the guy, which means technically, I once finished second for treasurer of National City. They're gonna give me command of all the money. What would I do with it? I'd give it to the people. Return your money to you. I'd be in federal prison.
For what?
For nothing. Just go back to whatever you're doing.
I'm curious. What's the crime?
I know. And so, you know, the thing that you're looking for is oftentimes not the thing that you're looking for. Remember, the audience is bullshit, guys. And guess who's in the audience? All of us. Yeah. We don't oftentimes know what we want, which is what gets frustrating. If you are someone who knows what you want, and you're going for what you want, and then people oftentimes say, I know what I want. And then as soon as you actually offer it to them, then they fall apart. I'll leave it with this. I tell people that if you want to get rid of somebody from your life, if you want to get a person out of your life completely, here's what you do. You offer them help to achieve their dreams. If they tell you, I want to do this thing out of this dream, say, dude, I believe in you. I got your back. Let's put together a plan. I'm going to help you. I'm going to motivate you to get there. I've done that so many times in my life, and those people are just gone within hours. Why?
They don't really wanna do it.
Yeah, I don't really want to do it. I remember sitting at Denny's here, a few years ago with somebody, a friend of mine, who didn't graduate from high school, dropped out. He's one credit shy. He's never finished it. He's working a bunch of menial jobs. He's always in trouble. He's trying to stay out of jail right now. It's just like everything that can go wrong goes wrong. But it's just because that's just tends could be why? Because that whole thing about being one credit short is a metaphor for his whole life. Everything is just that much short, and everything's within his grasp. And I was sitting there, and he asked me about doing some stuff, about opening a gym. He asked me what my plans were for the future. I said, well, I'm going to open a gym. I've already opened 2 gyms before. I'm going to open another one. And so he goes, all right. I said, but I hate doing it by myself. I hate doing those things. It's good to have somebody with you. I asked him, do you want to do it? And he goes, that's exactly why I want to talk to you tonight. And he's like, I just have this dream, because he's big on that stuff. He's like, I want to do this. He's like talking about how motivated he is, how he doesn't need anything else. He's committed this way. I said, dope. Here's what you, so how do we do this? I said, here's what you do. I got him a membership at a gym for free. He wasn't even paying, which normally we go to gyms like 150 to 160 a month. I said, I knew the owner. I said, train Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu every single day, right? Or at least 4 days a week. And then he works out also. He's big and strong. I said, do those normal things, train these things every day, and then we'll talk in a couple of years. Like, we'll still be in touch because we'll still be at the same gym, but that's what we're working towards. He's like, oh man, dope. He never went to one of those classes. Within 3 days, I didn't see him at all. I didn't see him again for another 2 years. And then the next time I saw him, I pretended like nothing had happened, everything was fine. And we still talk today, and this still comes up. And I'm always like, so, how are those classes going? I know. Those are your dreams, huh? Those are your dreams. No, because as soon as someone's willing to invest in you, someone's willing to put the time into you. And by the way, I have a couple people who've been like, dope, let's do this. And we did. But overwhelmingly, you're gonna find, man, people are gonna run away from their dreams because they don't really want what they want. There's something else down below, and until they figure out what this is, they're never gonna achieve the thing they actually want. Or certainly not the thing that they need. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, criticisms, critiques? Happy Thursday-ish? Not too bad.